Okay, American History 2 students. I want to give you a little bit of an explanation with that discussion board and about the baby boom. So what happens is when you have a number of people that are born within, say, 2, 3, or 4 consecutive years, that is what's called a birth cohort. Well, what you end up with during during the baby boom is you end up with a number of birth cohorts. Um, these birth cohorts are going to experience some of the same, um, I don't want to say life-changing events, but events in life that are big events in a person's life. When you first walk, when you start school, when you move from grade school to middle school or to junior high, when you graduate, when you get that first job. They go through those, what I would call, maybe some of those life-changing events together. But the problem is that when you have too many people going through these same events at the same time, it can cause problems. So as an example, let's just take an individual family, okay? A family has one child, and they can pretty much prepare for those big life events for that child, when they're going to start school. Okay, so you got to buy school clothes, and you got to have certain kinds of clothes for them. Making sure that they're meeting school dress codes, that they have the proper shoes, that they have the proper pants, proper type of shorts, proper shirts, stuff like that. If you have one child, that's not a big deal. But let's say you have twins. Okay, now it's double the trouble. And it's not just when you're starting school. When they're going to start to maybe drive, well, they are each going to want their own vehicle. How about when they're starting school? Now, or when they're starting college? If they go to college, now you're planning for 2 colleges. They might decide that, maybe they're going to get married close to one another. There's 2 weddings. What about if you have triplets? Now you have to try to do that, for 3. It might not even be a multiple birth situation, but let's say that you have 2 kids that are only 1 year apart in age, or maybe 3 kids, and a child that was born in 2000, 2001, and 2002. You're trying to prepare yourself for, okay, one child just started school. Next year, another one starting school. Next year, another one starting school. Now one's going to start to, one's learning how to drive. Then the other one's learning how to drive. And so hopefully you kind of get the picture. Well, what happens is when you have something like a baby boom, it's not just one child starting and then another child and then another child. It's millions of kids that are starting school at the same time. Millions of kids moving on to high school. Millions of kids that are maybe moving on to college, millions of individuals entering the workforce. And it's not just happening 1 year after the next, after the next, after the next. It's happening. It's going to be like that for 18 years in a row. So what I want you to think about is, what are some of these momentous events that one's going to be facing in life? And it's not just for how's it going to impact that person, how is it going to impact the country? So you got to think about, what are some of these life-changing events that people are going to be going through that are going to be impacting the country? And again, it's not just going to be 1 or 2 people going through this at the same time. It's millions of people. So I want you to think about that when you're focusing on the discussion question. If you're still not certain after what I put in there for you to read, after reading the article, after watching this video, then email me and hopefully I'll be able to explain it to you a little bit better.